Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm the City Witch. So as you can see, I have a brand new tarot deck to review for you guys today. This is probably one you've seen knocking around before because it's been out since about springtime last year, so spring 2022, and we're now in spring 2023. So I've gotten this kind of a year late. Reason for that was because I wasn't really at the time looking for a demonic based tarot or deck. I was kind of looking for maybe something that I could use in occult magic, and I wasn't sure I wanted it to be a tarot or an oracle. So I was kind of just sort of researching and looking for a deck that I felt would fit into my practice and what I wanted to use it for. And then I came across, unfortunately, the Occult Tarot, which looked aesthetically amazing. It looked like a lot of work and energy had gone into it. So I purchased that. And I also bought the Angel version as well. And I gotta say, I was thoroughly disappointed in those decks. The Occult Tarot is not worth the paper it's printed off. Please don't buy it, guys. You probably know exactly the one I'm on about, and you've probably seen lots of other YouTubers talk about how bad that was, especially those of us who are really into tarot and really know what we're talking about. So yeah, that was a very disappointing deck. And I said straight away when I got it, it should never have been called a tarot. It should not be used as a tarot, but as a tool to connect demons, working with them in ritual settings. It could be a wonderful tool for that, but it just hadn't been designed that way, and that just let it down in my opinion. The Angel deck that the same author did was a little bit better, but not that much better. I did try a different demonic deck. I believe that was called the Demoltry Tarot. That one was really good for a guidebook. You know, the guidebook was packed full of information. The author had seriously done their research, much better than the Occult Tarot. However, it was the cards that let it down. They were kind of on the small side. They'd used the original pictures from the Goetia to represent the demon, so you know who the demon was based on the image because it matched the Goetia. But the information on the card was literally just the demon's name and a bit of script from the Goetia instead of telling us the information that we want to know about that demon. So if I'm working with demons or angels, I kind of want to know, you know, its name, maybe in English and maybe in Latin or Hebrew, something along those lines. I might want to know its sigil or its seal, something relevant to that being, something I can use to summon and work with it. And I might want to know its powers, its abilities, its office of control. You know, so for example, does it, you know, help with death? You know, is it good at, you know, controlling people's minds, manipulating people in some way? Is it, you know, good at helping you gain love or friendship, really good with business? You know, you kind of want to know that information when you're working with these beings. And all three decks didn't do that. So I kind of scrapped them all, to be honest. I ended up selling them, I think, and getting rid of them. And I didn't bother reviewing them because it really wasn't worth it. So anyway, so that brings me to this deck. So I've recently started working with Lilith in my occult practice, and she really wanted me to get a deck or some tools that I could really start to open up my practice with her with and communicate with her. So she wanted to use this like a medium of communication for me. So I found this deck and I really liked it, and she gave me clear signs that she was all for it and giving this a go. So I bought this tarot. And I say it's been out for a while, so you probably do recognize it. But this is new to me, so I am going to be reviewing it and going through the cards and seeing what I personally think. So this is the Goetia Tarot in Darkness, a deck by Fabio Lustrani. It is printed and produced in Italy. It's got an absolutely gorgeous box, and I really like the sigils and the artwork that they have placed on it. I think that's going to be Lucifer, but don't quote me on that until I have a look at the guidebook, but I'm pretty sure that's Lucifer. So yeah, really nice box, really well done, and really nice and sturdy. And I also like that the lid comes off like this, making it quite unique, because I don't really have too many decks where it's the top that comes off. Usually it's a sliding lid like that. So let's have a look. As I say, this is brand new, so I have, oh, okay. So I am gonna have to unpackage that for you guys. Like I said, brand new, so I've not opened this at all. But before I do that, let's have a quick look at the guidebook. So guidebook, it kind of looks like it's gonna be in black and white. Might have a bit of red in there, yeah. Just because, you know, the box has a bit of red on, so that was a good guess. So it looks like we have English, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. So there's sections to this guidebook. So we do get a bit of artwork in here, and it looks like we get some information about the Goetia, which is good. So Goetia, Tarot and Darkness, information about the actual Goetia, shadows and demons. So we're getting a lot of information, to be fair, in this guidebook. The Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, Quithos and the Left-Hand Path, the subconscious and the use of symbols. Oops. What else do we have? The structure of the deck, good, because we need to know that, that's important. Map of the cards and the demon cards. And then it looks like we get this cute little chart in here. So let's see. Just looking at the first one on the chart. So we have the name, so Baal. Apparently the card for that is the King of Wands. The meaning is creative experience, and the nature is adaptive control. Ruled by the sun and the zodiac sign Aries, and then traditional tarot attribution is the Two of Wands, which is interesting because over here it says King of Wands, but they've chosen the Two of Wands. Or I'm assuming that's what it's going to be in the deck, but I'm not actually sure, but we will check. So yes, it looks like it does that for all of the different cards in the deck. Yeah, and then looks like it goes into the other languages. So there's a decent amount of information in there. I might have liked a little bit more, but you know, that's okay. So I'll pop that to one side. So give me a minute, guys. I'm just gonna take the foil off this so we can have a little look. And we're back, and we're now able to take a good look at this deck. So before I get started, I just want to say I've zoomed in a little bit to give you a close-up, guys. And we're going to talk about the card stock quality before we look at the cards themselves. So the deck, when I opened it, came with this extra card. I think it's just like an arty front cover card, but it's going to be a great card for me to talk about the quality of the deck first of all. So it's average tarot size, and it's got this really nice rounded edge to it here. When I run my finger along the side stroking it, it doesn't feel sharp or, you know, too thin. So I don't think I would get a paper cut or hurt myself if I was playing around with this deck, so that's nice as well. The card is gloss, so if I tilt it around like that, you can see the light bouncing off of the card, so it does show you that it's gloss. Has this nice smooth finish to it. It's, even though the card itself is glossy, it doesn't feel like the cards would slip and slide. It's got a little bit of a kind of a resistance to it that makes it a little bit tacky. So I do think shuffling would be quite nice. I don't think they would slip and slide everywhere. I don't think you'd lose control of the deck while shuffling. The quality is really good. Like, can you see that, guys? Like, it's got this really nice thickness to it that I love. It's not too stiff. I can bend the card, which you can clearly see there. So if I bend, you can see that I can bend it, but it is slightly more on the stiffer side. The cardstock is a nice thickness, so it does tell me they've invested in really good quality card to print these cards on, which is great. I don't like when a deck is too thin and it feels cheap and it feels nasty. So this has a really nice feel to it, which I love. The back of the card has this really nice generic pattern to it that I just simply adore. If you've watched my other unboxings, you know what I'm talking about, guys. I really like a backing to a card where you cannot tell if the card is reversed or the right way. So this really pleases me. So if I turn it like that, you can't tell. So if you're the kind of reader that likes your cards to have a reverse and a right way meaning, and you like to mix it up and make sure you don't know what the cards are, whether they're the right way up or upside down, then this is going to be a deck that you will like because of the backing being that generic. You won't be able to tell. And I know some readers like to place the cards down first and then flip them one at a time. So again, you won't be able to tell if you choose to do it that method because of the design they've chosen on the back of this card. So that is just simply wonderful. So now I've had a little bit of a talk about the quality. Let's get stuck in and have a look at the deck, because that's really why you're here, guys. So the side is just plain white, which actually I think matches really well. But if you wanted to ink this up and go with like black on the sides, I think that would make them look really gothic-y and make them stand out, which would be really cool, which is something I am tempted to do with this deck. So you can get some generic paper inks. The Tim Holtz ones do perfectly. Just get a sponge and just dab and rub on the sides of the cards. You might have to do them one at a time though. Don't do them like a big chunk like this, because you'll end up with ink all over the cards and you'll have to wipe them all down. So just generally sponge along the side of the card, just tilting it like that, and you'll find that they will go black, and then just let them air dry for 24 hours just to make sure they're set, and then wipe off any excess just before you let them air dry, and then you'll have that really nice black feel to it if that's what you want. If you prefer it white, which, you know, this is quite nice as well, then you don't have to do that, guys. It's just a little idea for you. So I'm going to place the cards there, and hopefully you can see them on the video really clearly. So I'm not going to read the name of each of the demons, because I will probably butcher a lot of the names because they're quite difficult to pronounce. So instead, I'm going to stay fairly silent for this part, guys, just showing you each and every card, maybe pointing out a couple of things, commenting on certain cards that maybe I really like or cards that I don't like, just give you an idea of my personal opinion on the deck. But otherwise, I'm going to be fairly silent, just letting you have a look at the cards. So first impressions is, you know, quite positive, to be honest. So it looks like we have the sigil to the demon up here. We have the name of the demon. We have the card this is. So this is the King of Wands for the first one. So it looks like these aren't in order. So we don't have traditionally the Fool, which would be the first one, usually when you unbox a tarot. And then we have the planet and the star sign. So here we have the sun and we have Aries. Not sure what that equates to, but that obviously is the symbol for fire. So we have an alchemic symbol on there for magical purposes. So you know what element is matching this particular demon. So I haven't read the guidebook, but I have shown you briefly what the guidebook has inside it. So I'm assuming that all of this will be explained in the guidebook, but I will have another look in a moment, just to be sure of that, and see if I'm right about some of this, because I'm assuming that that can't be card one, because obviously the Fool is card one in the deck. So maybe, would that be the 14th card maybe? I don't know. But we'll have a look anyway. So first impressions, quite lovely. As you can see, it is very, very detailed. They have really gone to town and thought about what they wanted the image to look like. And there is a lot to see as well. The more I stare at this card, I can see things coming to light in the background there. You know, these thorns are very prominent here. We've obviously got crowns on these. Well, it's a frog and a cat, I think, there. And then we've got a man in the background with a crown on as well, but he's really in the background. He's not prominent. He's not the main figure here. This frog and the cat are, I don't know if this man is the demon or if the frog is the demon. I would have to look that up. But yeah, so that is card number one. As I say, I'm just going to be silent for most of this, guys, and just let you have a look at the cards and see them all one at a time for yourselves. The artwork is stunning. So here we have the Hierophant. I like the way they've added in the book for knowledge, learning, study for the Hierophant. That's really nice. It's a nice touch. So they have thought about it a little bit then with some of these. So here's the Fool. So not stood on a cliff, but it's clearly on some kind of a journey. Kind of undecided as well, because this creature here is looking kind of over his shoulder towards the back, but heading that direction. It's maybe not quite sure upon the journey that he's taking, but willing to give it a go anyway. Lovely. Cards are quite lovely. I really like the artwork. It's very modern, but with a very occult twist to it. And the dark aesthetic is very beautiful. I didn't think I was going to like it being black and white, but actually I really do like it. And I can imagine using these on an altar, you know, working with the demons, working with these amazing spirits from the Goetia. Aesthetically would look absolutely beautiful. That one's beautiful. Look at the detail on that. It's amazing. Kind of reminds me of a church as well. You know, that kind of structural imagery you can get where they carve into the stone. That's kind of what it looked like to me. Wow. I can't tell if the demon is the person or the snake in that. I'm assuming that's a snake. Strength, that's interesting. So we can clearly see some kind of jaws here in the image, and then obviously the focus is this swan. I think it's a swan, it might be a goose. And, you know, we can clearly see that this creature, even though its mouth is open, is being quite delicate with this smaller creature. So that's interesting. Because gentleness is definitely one of the themes for the strength card. Oh, the moon. That's beautiful. That definitely gives me mysterious vibes, like the moon's illuminating secrets in the night. Judgment. It's quite a dark card there, so I hope you can see that, guys. I thought that was going to be the death card for a minute then. Cloaked figure. And then obviously in the Goetia, there aren't enough demons to fully make a tarot deck. So I'm wondering what are going to be the extra cards to make this up to a full tarot. So I guess we'll find out in a minute. I'm assuming they will be at the end of the deck, showing us the extras. Wow, that one's lovely as well. Furfur. So this is a demon that's recently come through to me that I've been working with. And I really like the imagery for this. That has just simply been done beautifully. Stolas. Whenever I hear Stolas, you know, see the image of this particular spirit, it makes me think back to the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, you know, because Stolas was the name of the bird that Lilith worked with. So that's kind of where my mind goes when I see that. Phoenix. Wow, that's beautiful as well. There's so many beautiful cards here. The artwork is just absolutely amazing. Tower. Now, isn't that interesting? So this sort of looks like a church or cathedral here. You know, it's almost like actually we have two different. So that looks like a church, but that looks like a cathedral. And then we've got this image of the bird flying over the top of them. It's very bird's eye perspective, isn't it? But we're looking up rather than looking down on something. That's very interesting for a tower card. Not usually the theme I like to see for a tower, but you know, we'll see how it works when I read with the cards. That one's lovely as well. I love the way they've done the moon in the background there. Shax. That makes me go back to Charmed, because I believe it was the Shax demon that killed off Peru. Sun card. Isn't that interesting? They've chosen to go with a solar eclipse there for the sun. The Hermit. Loving the horse in that. Wheel of Fortune. That's interesting as well. It looks like they've tried to fit in some of the creatures. It kind of looks like there's an attempt there to do the circle for the Wheel of Fortune. He looks very regal, doesn't he? The Empress. Murmur. That's another demon that I have worked with in the past. Ah, here's where we're getting this cross thing coming in here. So this is the World card. So this particular demon is stood on top of the world, like it's conquering it, which is interesting. Death. Wow. That actually gives me La Santa Morte vibes, you know, because of the scythe, the pregnancy there. So Lady Death. Obviously it's not her, but it sort of gives me that vibe. Here we have the Hanged Man. I wonder why they chose not to put them in order of a tarot. I wonder if that's something to do with the hierarchy of the demons. Maybe they needed to be in a certain order to match the Goetia. The Emperor. Wow. It definitely gives me Emperor vibes. Powerful, dominant, the man in charge. Justice. We have the scales. I like that the scales are a black and a white looking pentagram, and it's interesting that one's reversed and one's the right way as well in the image. Can you see that, guys? That's very clever. The Chariot. So we have the white and black horse again. You know, we're seeing the pentagrams here. I thought that one was going to be the Devil card then. Star. Oh, that's lovely. This deck might not be for everybody, with it being a very demonic deck, but I will say the artwork is absolutely stunning. And this card in particular for the High Priestess, that's giving me H.R. Geiger vibes. Just reminds me of a piece of artwork that he did. The Magician. That's cool as well. So here we have the cup, we have the sword, we've got the pentacle, which is the disc at the bottom there. Just trying to see if I can spot a wand. I can't quite spot the wand on there. I could be missing it. But that is brilliant. I really like that one. Okay, so we're finished with the demons by the looks of it. And these are our extra cards. So looks like we're getting the aces to a tarot as the extras, and they've chose to go with the tools of the magician. Yeah, so here we have the sword, so the Ace of Swords. That's really cool. I really like that. The vessel, and it's cauldron. I really like these occult sigils there. That's beautiful. The disc for the coins or pentacles. Very nice. The wand, Ace of Wands. Wow. That's stunning as well. Ooh, we've got Lilith. I've just recently started working with her. And she represents the lovers. That's interesting. That's a very sexual image as well, but I really like it. And then lastly, for the devil, we have Lucifer, of course. And that is beautiful. They've gone with the light bringer kind of energy there with the wings and everything. Absolutely stunning. So that kind of concludes the walkthrough of the deck. Overall, I have to say I really like the artwork. I wasn't sure I was going to because of the black and white theme, as I said earlier, but I do like the cards. I think the detail and the attention to detail is, you know, phenomenal. But I also like the way they've thought about the card that it's going to be as well. And they've kind of done a piece of artwork to match that, or to give you a clue as to what the tarot meaning is while using the imagery of the demon. So very, very clever. Overall, I would probably score this deck quite high, but I will say that this deck probably isn't beginner friendly. They're not traditional tarot images, even though there's an attempt there. So an experienced reader would know what each of the cards mean anyway, and they would be able to add a bit more to do with the demons on it if they're an occultist as well, giving another layer to the reading. But I would say as a beginner, this would be a very difficult deck to get into, to use. But as an occult tool to talk to demons, work with demons, this would be absolutely phenomenal. And actually, I'd really like to get the angelic version that he's done, which he's released recently. So I may get that one and do a review. So if you want me to review that one as well, guys, then go ahead and leave a comment. If you have this deck or you've used it for something different, leave a comment. Let me know. I'd like to know how you guys are working with this deck, what you find the deck's energy is like, and what your opinions are. Overall, I really like it. I am going to have a quick glance in the guidebook though, just to see what each of these mean, just to finish off this video. So does it tell us? Let's see. The structure of the deck, the map of the card. Okay, so the first thing here is the sigil of the demon, which, you know, I guessed right. The second thing, the original number by which the demon was classified in the Legatum Clavuca Solomonis. I'm probably not saying that right, but basically the Lesser Key of Solomon. So that is the classification of the demon in the Lesser Key of Solomon. So this one was classification 1, which in this case, so I don't know, they're using an example card here, but I won't bother with that because we're just using the first card. The second part is the name of the demon, which, which for us here we're using Baal. The fourth thing, so this number here, so the number of the tarot card to use Goetia as a regular deck. Okay, so that's the 14th card then. Okay. Then we have the name of the tarot card to use Goetia as a regular deck, which in this example is the King of Wands. Okay. So, you know, we know this card's the King of Wands because it tells us it's the King of Wands. Apparently that would be number 14 in the deck. And then here we have the planetary attribute, which is the sun for this card. And then we have the zodiac attribute, which is Aries. And then at the bottom here, so the esoteric attribution of the demon with his tarot card as it was attributed by Levi or Aleister Crowley. Okay, and then also we have the element. So that is the Aleister Crowley association. So they classified him as demon number 2 rather than demon number 1, and they gave him the element of fire. Okay, So if you're going to read this as a tarot, the things you probably need to know here are these bits here. Card number 14, and it is the King of Wands. So 8 of Swords, you know, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords. So we can clearly see here, you know, when I'm looking, 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords. So, so that's the bit you need if you're going to read it as a tarot. These are the bits you need if you are addressing the demon. This is the element, you know, these are the associations if you're going to be using the influences of the planets and the zodiac signs in your readings. Some tarot readers do and some don't. Your choice, guys. And then obviously looking at the image for inspiration and considering the demonic reference as well. So it might take a bit of time to learn the demons, what they rule over. So you might want to make yourself a key guide to help you. But like I said, not really a deck for a beginner, but an intermediate to advanced practitioner, reader, absolutely a brilliant deck. So based on everything I've seen, based on the quality, the knowledge, the way this is printed and designed, the artwork and the card stock, I would say this is easily, you know, an 8 or 9 out of 10 for me. It's really wonderful. The only thing that would have made this better for me is if at the bottom here, they'd have put a keyword in regards to the power ability of the demon, or maybe a keyword to the example of, you know, that reflects the tarot and what that tarot card is. So the Fool, for example, they could have put journey, adventure, you know, the start of something, you know, something along those lines. Maybe also a keyword for what the demon's power, ability, or main office of power is, if you want to work with the demon rather than use this as a tarot. But yeah, so that concludes my video, guys, and I really like the deck. Like I said, easily an 8 or 9 out of 10 from me. Really quite beautiful deck. Highly recommend it if you're into the occult, if you're into witchcraft and you want to start your journey working with the demons and spirits from the Goetia. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up, click the bell so YouTube will tell you when my next video comes out. If you'd like to offer light, love and support to this channel, you can do that through Patreon or my Amazon wish list. Both links are provided. If you'd like to book a professional tarot reading from me or any of my magical services, you can do that through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or via email. All the links are provided, guys. Thank you very much for supporting me and watching my video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I do check every single day, so I will try my best to get to you as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Blessed be.